for getting the bed back on the truck.
And that's it?
Yeah, and that's it. It's gonna be hard. Just me and him are gonna lift it. And we gotta get it back on there to bolt it on. I gotta put all these clips on before I put the bed on, because if you don't do that, then you messed up.
You gotta take the bed off. Or you
Yeah,
want
you
to start
gotta
with
take
the
the bed
clips
back
on.
off.
Well, no, you could get the clips on without clips them off. But you could
So
get clips.
luckily I remembered put all the clips back on. I painted all these clips and core sealed them. The nuts are all good.
Did you get new bolts?
Yeah, I have new brand new bolts. Because we lifted the bed over here, and then we have two of these cheap Harbor Freight dollies, the roller moving dollies, and then we put the tire on top of the dolly. So when we lift that end there, this side will just roll towards us. So we can just slide it straight on easy.
Gonna be through.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but it's doable.
We got the wood through.
Using this little flashlight so I can look in the holes before I put the bolt through, make sure the nut is lined up, and then I'm just hand tightening all the bolts. All 8 bolts are hand tightened. So now I'm just gonna torque them all down. I don't know what the torque is for these. I'm just gonna snug them with a regular ratchet to the socket. I did put a little bit of anti-seize. I put a little bit of regular never seize anti-seize on the top of the bolt so it doesn't seize up in case I ever have to take these off in the future. And now I'm just going to torque all these down all the way, one at a time. I decided to just use the electric impact and just impact these in real quick. And that should be tight, more than tight enough. So it's much faster instead of me using a regular ratchet, which will take longer. I'm trying to get this done quick. So this will speed up my job. And that's more than tight enough. So I'll finish up all these and move on to the next step. Alright, the filler neck is the next step, and I just cleaned it up and I gave it a coat of black paint. So it's good. Now I'm just going to push it through the hole up in the top and then catch the little screws back on. It's back in now. Catch the 3 self-threading screws back on right now. And then this filler neck is back in. There's a lot of adjustment, so you just catch all 3 before you tighten it down. Doesn't need to be too tight. And this is a 7mm socket for the filler neck. The next step is getting this back in there, the grommet, with the fuel cap and the grommet back on. This seal looks pretty good. Probably going to put a little bit of silicone grease on this before I put this back in. Or not silicone grease, this super lube grease that I always use. I'm going to put a little bit of this super lube synthetic grease on this seal here so it goes on easy and it'll keep the rubber preserved and it won't be able to rust around the rubber either. So you just push that piece back in first. And then slip it in your rubber, just press it in there. And that's it, that's back on. It just goes on like normal. That's it. The bed is back on. All the bolts on the bed are tightened. Filler neck is tightened. The next thing I'm going to be doing is the bumper. I already ran all the wires where they have to go, plugged in everything, and zip tied everything already. Before I hook up back the trailer connector, I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the pins. This is electrical type grease, so I'll put some on the pins before I put it back together. So this grease works great for bushings and it works good for electrical grease. There, that's back on. This part here, just the rubber piece. This slips back on. Since I'll put a tiny drop of anti-seize, a little bit of anti-seize on each screw before I put them back in. And that's back together now. Now I'm going to get the taillight back in. The connectors are in. These two little metal taps have to go into these holes right here. I put a little grease on it, and I'm just going to line these up. Line it all up. Make sure it's all lined up. And then you just press, snap it in. After you snap that in, there's two screws. They're 8mm. And you just tighten them in right here. One on the top and one on the bottom. This is plastic, so you don't tighten it too much. And the taillights are back in. I got a new bumper, so I have to transfer over all the sensor holders onto the new bumper. So I'm going to do that one at a time with just a little flat blade. For these plastic clips, you just push down on these 4 tabs right here with a flat blade, and these pop out. They go back in like this. Same way, and also these are not interchangeable. They have to go back in the exact hole they came out of. Because every single one is different. They just slip back in. Okay. Next thing to install is in these holes right here. I have to put the license plate lights. I have brand new ones, so I'm doing that instead of taking out the old ones, because my old ones are, one of them is broken. Brand new license plate light housings I got. These just snap in there pretty easy. So just put it there and snap them in. And that's it. The bumper is all set. I could steal these. These are the grommets for the license plate. Just swap them over. Now to get the new bumper onto the truck. That's it, the bumper's on. It's 4 bolts on the top. 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's just Torx bolts. Just gonna catch all 4 before I tighten them down. tighten all 4 of those, and we'll do that later. You just grab your sensors and press them back in. My sensors, to get these sensors out, you're supposed to pull them from the back, but pulling them from the back usually, for me, it caused it to break. So what instead I did was I pushed it from the front. I pushed it from the front with my finger and pulled it out the back at the same time in order to prevent them from breaking. But to put them back in, you just push them back in there, and they snap in pretty easy. And there you go, all 4 backup sensors are back in if you have backup sensors on your truck. The bumper is back in. I just gotta finish up tightening these bolts. And there's 2 bolts for the bottom right here. So it's tighten 2 bolts there. Once I find my clip, which I can't find right now, then I'll get that done as well. And that's it for the back bumper. I got the 4 Torx bolts on top tightened, the 2 15mm bolts from the bottom tightened. One here and one here, and then I forgot to swap over. You gotta swap over this little ring from for your spare tire hoist. So I swapped that over, and that's about it. The bed is complete. Gotta put my license plate back on. I just put the tailgate back on. To get it on, you put the round side on first, and then on this side, the passenger side, there is a slot, and this one's not round, and it slips on. So you put this side on second. When you're taking it off, you just lift this side first. So you lift the passenger side off first, and then you slide it to the right off of the round side, which is on the driver's side. You just use a flat blade and pry this up, and slide this over and off, and you're done. I'll be replacing these back plastic bumper pads in the future, but mine's, all the tabs on them are broken, so I just drilled 2 holes and I zip tied it on, and the holes are really strong. It's not going to come off. I'm replacing the tailgate. I have a new tailgate, and all the bumper pads will be replaced when the truck goes in to get painted. So all these will be pulled off and replaced, but for now I didn't want to put the new one on yet, so I just zip tied this on. Just a black zip tie so it doesn't look that bad, and it worked out good.